Welcome to the fight game. He's Icewater. I'm Puma. Give us a like, comment, subscribe, share our episodes right here on YouTube channel Chocolate 108.1 WYDL. We would appreciate it a lot. We're going to talk about this. This is kind of messing me up because we were planning, or we're in the preparation stages of trying to get back to Las Vegas for the big fight that was supposed to happen on the 12th with Canelo and Crawford. And now we're finding out that may not happen on the 13th. It may not happen in Las Vegas. We don't know what to do. They're talking about either Saudi Arabia, New York, or Vegas. They're changing the date. They got Dana White up in the mix now. Bro, I'm confused. Can you clear this up?
I don't know about clearing it up. I mean, we're all out there waiting. There's still answers to be provided. But initially, the fight with I know our guy Turkey from Saudi Arabia, along with going to be working with Dana White to promote this for September 12th in Las Vegas. But then all of a sudden, there was a change in everything. So now they have literally officially have made this event to be scheduled for September 13th, right? And now they don't know about the venue, but we went from one extreme because on September 12th, it was supposed to be shown on Netflix. It's going to be on Netflix. But now, because it's moved on the 13th, it is now have jumped to a pay-per-view event, according to Turkey. And now the major issue is the fact that it's going to be hard. I guess you could put it in Las Vegas, but it's going to be hard to really have it in Las Vegas because a couple things. They were going to use the Allegiant Stadium, the Raiders Stadium, for on the 12th for that. But now there is I think a UNLV football game on Allegiant Stadium on the 13th. So that's a no-go. So you got to change the venue. Also, too, UFC, where Dana White is the guy, they have an event scheduled for the 13th. I think it's in Mexico. So that's a major event. So now it's going to be competing with this boxing event. And it's almost one of those things where I don't think Dana White can do both events. So, which is why we might be seeing Turkey kind of deciding to do his own thing. So Dana White might have to go to Mexico, do his thing on the 13th, and Turkey's going to be doing his thing separately, where they will compete against one another. So when we break this down, I think, first of all, I think Saudi Arabia is a no-go. And I say that from the standpoint of if Turkey wants to make money, the promoter, you put people having to watch that fight at a different time of day, which you lose a lot of pay-per-view folks.
Right.
But if you do have it on Saturday, and you do have it like in New York or Las Vegas, like maybe at T-Mobile Arena, or you go back to the old MGM, more likely T-Mobile, but you still have the ability to promote the fight because a lot of people want to see it, no matter how much as people what the arena at T-Mobile holds. Then you open the door for the pay-per-views.
Right.
And it's on a regular time that people can watch it. And if you do the same thing in New York, it just works. And people will come to New York because they want to see the fight, because they want to see that after that madness of mayhem that we saw on May 2nd, people still will come back for something like that too. So I think Turkey's major options are New York or Vegas, and how you want to work it. I think Vegas would be ideal, but if that doesn't work, you can still get it off in New York. People want to see this fight. They've been talking about this fight. You could put a dramatic, great undercard to go along with this fight. It's a long time coming. Money is on the line. People will tune in. People will attend, but you have to give them enough time to do so, and that's what you talked about as far as making travel arrangements.
Yeah, and New York doesn't make sense to me. The only thing that really makes sense to me is Las Vegas, because Canelo wasn't there in May. Everybody was they know he's going to be there in September. It's Mexican Independence or a Mexican holiday, and
Right.
so this is where he's used to fighting. We talked to several people who are looking forward to this in September, and but to do it in Saudi Arabia, that will be a nose up to the American public saying, you know what, forget what you guys think. We're going to do it wherever we want to do it. And it's going to isolate a lot of boxing fans at that particular point because we're not used to watching fights at 4 p.m. In the afternoon, where people are still kind of, running errands and doing all the other stuff. We like to be settled in. We like to have our little parties, and we like to have them at night, and drinking parties and eating and all that other stuff and watching the festivities. I mean, this is what we're used to. It's almost like a Super Bowl kind of event. So if they take it away like that, and to me, New York doesn't make sense either because of the debacle they had last week. I mean, New York used to be the Mecca, but not so much anymore. Las Vegas is the place. It's the place where the betting goes on and all that other stuff. It just makes sense to make a lot of money. Netflix is a no-go. They had their shot. No, they can't handle it. They got too much. They try to put too much dip on their chip the last time they did this. It ain't gonna work there. I mean, nobody saw that fight. I wasn't even trying to see it, but after 1 or 2 attempts, I'm like, I don't even want to see it and I have Netflix. So it's like, that doesn't make sense. And if you want to make a lot more money, you got to go pay-per-view. That's the only thing that makes sense. But I think you do it with Las Vegas. We'll see. I think it should be on a Saturday. I don't know who's fighting in the UFC on the 13th, but I don't care. I want to watch this fight. And I'm a big MMA fan. I love to watch MMA, but I don't care about the MMA. These are the 2 fighters I want to see fight. And whatever you're doing, UFC or whatever, maybe you guys should change the date to Friday because nobody's going to be watching that and watching the Canelo and trying to switch over unless you guys coordinate the time. Maybe the only way I can see this happening is that Saudi Arabia will do it earlier. If they put in Saudi Arabia, do it earlier, and then the UFC does theirs later. But it'll just mess it up for the American public. And I know I'm talking like a arrogant American at this particular point, that everything has to revolve around us. I don't want to sound that way, but these are fighters that we're used to seeing, and they're 2. I don't think Canelo, does he have dual citizenship in Mexico and the United States? But this is the time zone that we want to watch this fight in. And these are fighters that we've been watching. How dare you take them away from us and not put them in a great position so we can watch the fight and enjoy the fight the way we've been enjoying it all these years?
No, I agree. I think that Saudi Arabia location doesn't make a lot of sense. Canelo already paid his debt by going over there the first time, so that's what Turkey wanted. He wanted his folks to see Canelo up close and personal, even though it was a bad fight. So you did that. Now it's like about the money. As you said before, they do have it on the 13th, and they do have it in Vegas. What they could probably possibly do if the UFC is willing is kind of stagger it, right? We've done that before. So whoever goes first, they're done, and then people are gonna watch the fights. So I don't know what the time zone is in Mexico or how they work with that, but wherever it is, you can stagger it. Even if you do it in Las Vegas, you can stagger it. It might be a little later. People will still watch because that way you get the best of both worlds. You get to watch the entire fight. Whatever UFC goes first, you get to watch that whole entire thing there. Then you say, okay, well, we're gonna wait another 20 minutes. Now we'll start the boxing match. So you can do that. It's been done before. But if Turkey wants to make some real money, Vegas is the place. Again, I can still see New York if that's what he wanted to do. But I think you get the best bang for your buck in Vegas. Yeah. New York could handle it. I think New York would take it because of the factor that they want to make up for that debacle on May 2nd. And if they had an opportunity, I think they'll do it because it is the Mecca sometimes. But the place that most people will want to see it will be Vegas. So we'll go from there. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what plays out between what Dana White decides to do.
Yeah, that's another story we can talk about another time. July 19th, there are some fights that are being signed on. Pacquiao and Burroughs was going to fight. Was going to fight. And you got Usyk and Dubois. You got Bam Rodriguez, set up to fight that day. It sounded like a great card that's building up for July 19th. I don't know if everybody's fighting at the same location, but I mean, these fights are some big fights coming up on July 19th.
Yeah, it's almost as if the boxing world is trying to make up for that bush they gave us the weekend of May 2nd that we were in Vegas. Because a lot of those fights did not turn out the way they thought, or it just really wasn't a lot action.
Yeah.
And the only real action that we got that really people appreciated was the monster on Sunday in Las Vegas. So now you have a very similar type situation on July 19th where these bouts are coming up, and most of them are in different places, locations, right? So and they're trying to make up for it. So you bring Manny Pacquiao out of retirement, which is a little bit bizarre, for a world title fight against Barrios, right? But hey, Manny's done it before, and we'll see. And I think they selected this fight because it's a fight that they believe Pacquiao has a chance of really winning. So it'll be interesting. So that's something you want to tune in for. Another one is Sebastian Fundora versus Tim Tszyu. That was the bloody mess that we saw when Tim Tszyu got cut, and they both were bleeding off one another. And so instead of Sebastian Fundora fighting one other person, he decides to give Tim Tszyu a rematch, which I love to see. I know other people are a little bit mad about that, but I like to see that fight. And then you also mentioned that we have Usyk and Dubois with regards to the rematch. So we've been waiting to try to give Usyk somebody to fight. There was a little controversy on the first fight between he and Dubois. So I'm excited about that. I want to see it because I want to see the little man against somebody at least worthwhile. I could watch this, right?
You want the little man to lose. Just sit
Nah, I mean,
back.
I'm over that. I'm over that. I wanted him to lose the Fury. I'm not gonna lie. I
Yeah,
wanted,
yeah, yeah.
but now I'm over that. I mean, if he wins, I'm okay. But I need to see him fight. This is at least a fight. I think there's a chance that Dubois at least can challenge him. Anybody else, for the most part, he's shown and proven that he can beat him. But you start bringing other people that, and I'm sorry, Joseph Parker. I'm sorry, but you start bringing in folks that I think Usyk would just run through. I want to see a challenge, and that's why I say that. You also mentioned Jesse Bam Rodriguez versus Cafu, Cafu. So yeah, and I just want to see Jesse Bam Rodriguez because everybody loves him. But I have to say, and I'm going to say this with a little caveat: Jesse Bam Rodriguez is an amazing fighter, but I find it ironic that he's getting all this love and pound for pound.
Hmm.
Granted, he's come up and won some big fights, going up a couple tiers in weight class. But when you have a guy like Juto Nakatani and a monster, two probably to me the two best guys going right now, 118, 122. I just don't know how they're giving Jesse Bam Rodriguez more love than Nakatani. So you're at 115, Bam Rodriguez. I got a lot of respect for you, bro. But you want that pound for pound respect from me? Bring your ass on up to 118 and see my boy Nakatani. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Come see Nakatani at 118.
We haven't done a top 10 pound for pound list in a while, so we need to kind of go back on that because, last time we did it, Earl Spence was on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I know he's not on it anymore. Tyson Fury was on it. I don't think he's on it anymore. So we got to do that maybe sometime this summer. Our top 10 pound for pound list. Now we were talking yesterday, and you said there's some future fights that are pending that sound really interesting. So I want you to go into that real quick.
Yeah. Just some bizarre stuff, man. It's kind of them futures. You go, do we really want to see that fight? Maybe, maybe not. But I want to see them. I know some of these people are older, but it makes for great intrigue because they're going to come in trying to fight, unlike boxing exhibitions, okay? These are going to be supposedly real fights, something everybody wanted to see.
Right.
The first one out the box, they want to see Anthony Joshua. And yeah, I know y'all tired of hearing it, but the return of Tyson Fury.
I want to see that.
Yeah, we've been wanting to see that fight. And it's like, let's give it one more time. I know everybody's like, Wilder's coming back. And now Wilder said he got his mojo back. Yeah, but we'll see after he fights recently. But I want to see the matchup of Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. They've been wanting to see this fight for a while. Let's get it out the way
Yeah.
and give it to the people.
two guys from the UK. Let's let's bang it out and then hug it out later. And I think that's to make a lot of money, especially in the UK and pay-per-view, because we've been waiting for this for a long time. Hopefully, it doesn't disappoint us. Like that two past their prime, and then it's like they're hitting each other like Buckwheat and Porky and the Little Rascal. Like you lay down, no, you lay down.
He like this. He like that. He like this. He like that. He like
this. What's the other fight that you mentioned yesterday? Which I want to see this one too.
Yeah. The other fight is it's almost like two major things going bad, and they kind of had to settle for one another. It's one of those things. So the illustrious fading off into the sunset Keith Thurman
mm-hmm.
versus Errol Spence Jr.
One time
for your mind. But the intrigue about this fight is the factor that when Keith Thurman was the champion way back when he was really at the pinnacle of his career, was hot and everything, Errol Spence Jr. was trying to fight him. He was chasing him, literally trying to get an opportunity. But Keith Thurman was like, this kid's not ready. I'm not going to make any money off of this. It doesn't make sense. So Errol Spence Jr. Then kind of said, all right, I'm going to do something else. And then Keith Thurman went on. But then the other part came in where Keith Thurman ends up fighting Manny Pacquiao, right? And this is how this works with the championship. And Manny Pacquiao beats Keith Thurman.
Yeah, gave him that
work.
Gave him that work.
Yeah, gave him that work, and it was a surprise, and he ends up winning the title. Mm-hmm. Then after that, you go from the standpoint of what was it? Manny Pacquiao does that. Manny Pacquiao loses, right? Loses to what is the guy's name from overseas?
I know you're talking about the guy that I thought that was a fixed fight.
Yeah. So he wins that fight, and then all of a sudden, Usyk gets the opportunity to fight this guy, and he wins the title.
Yeah.
So that belt transpired some kind of way. Also in the interim, Keith Thurman goes on like a 2-year hiatus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing really there. So Usyk wins the title and goes from there. And then finally,
you said Usyk? Huh? You said Usyk wins the title, or
Ugas?
Ugas.
Appreciate you. It was Ugas. Usyk, Clay, Ali.
Madagascar.
Yeah, don't get old, y'all. Don't get old.
Don't get old, people.
Ugas. Yeah, look. Kid to Kobe. Anyway, but no, Ugas, thank you. So Ugas defeats this guy and wins the title. So Ugas faces Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. beats him and becomes the champion. So that kind of goes full circle. And then afterwards, as he got older, when Errol Spence Jr. wins that title, then Keith Thurman starts that chasing of Errol Spence.
Right.
And Errol Spence Jr. says, I don't need you because when I wanted to fight you, when you had still some relevance, you didn't want to fight me. But I think now they're both have been out of the ring for a while.
They need each other, actually.
Yeah. It's a fight that's intriguing. So it gives Errol Spence Jr. the opportunity to show that he's back if he is, to be the guy that at least has at one time was a champion. So they both are like on that same level. Keith Thurman can say, I told you I'm ready for another higher level if he wins the fight. Errol Spence, on the other hand, says, okay, the Crawford fight was a long time ago. I'm healed. I'm better. I beat another former champion. I'm ready to move to the next level. So the winner of this fight places themselves in a really solid pattern to at least take another fight for another opportunity.
Two things you mentioned yesterday, and I have a response to both of them. I didn't really want to see Errol Spence fight again, based on what he went through with the Terrence Crawford fight. I don't know what happened to him that day. There are a lot of different rumors that there was something else going on with him. but he really needs to. He doesn't want to retire with that fight. I'd rather him fight fights that he can win and retire when he wants to retire, if that's what he wants to do. If it's something wrong with his health, then he needs to, take care of that. But didn't want him to go out like that because that was a really painful way. And it was painful for us to watch him go out like that. So don't want that to be his last fight. And I want him to go out on his ship. The other thing is, you mentioned Sean Porter says he really didn't lose the fight against Earl Spence, and I'm like, who did he think he was fighting with in the ring? Because you got that work in that ring, bro. And I don't know, in the day and age where you could just say anything and people will believe you, enough stupid people will believe you. How does he come up with he didn't lose that fight against Earl Spence?
Um, Sean Porter, I don't get it. I love Sean Porter. Sean Porter's from Ohio, in Cleveland area, hell of a fighter, really nice guy too. But the fact that you would go in and say, well, it was a low blow, if they would have called it, I possibly could have won. You got work, bro. You
Yeah.
got work. I love you. I think you're a great guy.
Nothing but love for Sean Porter, but man,
Yeah, but in that fight, you got worked. I mean, and from that standpoint, you can't be mad at Earl Spence and you say to judges, you didn't do enough.
right.
You didn't do enough. I know that when you fought Crawford, Crawford just put you down and you couldn't keep coming because you didn't have it anymore. You were in your prime versus against Earl Spence, and you both were banging. It was a really close fight, but in the championship rounds, he gave you work,
Yeah.
and you could not respond. I mean, you could not come back. So, I mean, to me, that's something that you talk about at the barbershop. You say that amongst your folks, but why are you bringing it out now?
Yeah.
You got work. You got work.
Almost sound like he wants to come back.
He says it's not in him anymore.
I wouldn't recommend it, but
No,
he wants to come back.
I mean I hope not. I mean because he said he doesn't have that fire anymore. You've done a lot,
Yeah.
and if you do come back, I tell you what, if Keith Thurman loses to Errol Spence, let's get that rematch then.
Yeah, let's get that going. Yeah, yeah. I
That,
would watch that.
yeah, that's what it takes. We get you back in the gym, and you say, "I'm gonna go off one more time with Errol Spence," and we'll watch it.
Yeah. Maybe he thinks he can get Earl now since Earl hasn't been in the fight game for a while. So maybe that's what he's trying to talk himself into. Maybe.
I thought, I mean, maybe I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it is. It just seems really bizarre that all of a sudden he wants to fight again, or not even fight again. He starts talking about what it used to be. Maybe he's been in the gym and punching the bag, going, "Man, if I had one fight
More
that I
shot.
could change, thought I won, it was that one." And he has a right to his opinion. Not saying that you think that you can't say what you want to say.
Yeah.
You have that platform because you've been in the ring, but it just seems like it's almost like sour grapes, and because you came up short.
Well, Pacquiao's making a comeback, so why not?
Yeah, nothing's sacred anymore.
No, never. Any other news we need to know about?
No, just get ready. We have some, I think some things are coming up because of the boxing, and you have to do something because of that bad showing they gave us on the weekend of May 2nd, which is my birthday weekend. And y'all did me wrong on that, but we need to see some really quality fights, man. Like I said, possibly we could see if everything works out. At least it's being talked about. In a way, the Monster versus possibly Nakatani in Japan in 2026.
That is a must see.
We'd love to see that fight. And then there are also possibilities talking about maybe Teofimo Lopez. They're talking about some things, Teofimo Lopez versus Boots Ennis.
Yeah, that's another fight. Yeah, those are some good fights.
We'd like to see that. So, I mean, but we just kind of wait. There's a lot of people waiting on the outside, looking in. I mean, Gary Antoine Russell needs a good fight somewhere. There's a lot of people waiting. So, excuse me, hopefully we can get this together and get some real fights for the boxing fans to be entertained again.
Yeah.
We really need that because despite what you may believe, people still want to see good boxing nights.
Right. He's Icewater. I'm Puma, and this is the Fight Game.